It says we're live. Where to start?
Mic check, mic check.
It's Thursday.
It's 5. It's Tony and Chelsea live. We're going to do the whole show like that.
Good. Today, we're going to be reviewing your nature photos. So that could be animals, that could be plants, it could be landscapes. We're looking forward to seeing them. And if you haven't seen this show before, we do a live show where you submit your photos and we critique them, we edit them, we give tips and feedback.
It's not too late to send a picture, and go to stp.io/submit and send your picture in while we're recording the live show, but not after the live show because the live show is over and we'll be on to our next theme. Do you want to tell them what the next theme is?
If I knew, I'd tell them.
The next theme is art, which is not pictures of art. Don't take a picture of art and send it in. Use your camera and make art, which is, tell them what art is.
Just things.
Thanks. Great. Should be real clear.
Also, we still have our spring sale going on. So if you'd like to get 20% off of our books, which include video training, we have Lightroom books, we have Photoshop books, we have a how-to photography book. And yeah, the coupon code is Easter. So go to northrup.photo and check out our store to see what we've got going on.
Okay, you want to take a look at people's nature pictures?
Yeah, let's go straight to the photos. I haven't peeked at any of these, so, except for this one. By Me Rage.
Wait, I need to choose how I'm going to sort this.
Okay, what are you doing today?
Do
it by shutter speed.
Oh, okay. Longest?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll do this. Okay, we'll start with the long exposures. Okay.
Okay, Barbara, you made it! Thanks to the shutter speed. You know what? I have to say that waterfall pictures are far more difficult than they look. And you did such a nice job of having the waterfall be the focus, but also using the rest of the stream as a leading line. And you included a lot of forest, but it doesn't seem overcluttered. It's just really beautiful, and it's definitely nature, which is on the right track. I'm going to give you a pick.
Great job, Barbara. Ah, this is so on my list, and you really lucked out, like the nice, beautiful shape of the aurora. It looks like a dragon's tail to me, don't you think?
Yeah, and I like that it's framed by the trees in the background and that they're exposed enough that you can see what's going on in the foreground. It's beautiful. The colors are beautiful. I like the composition. So, yeah.
Yeah, we got to give me a pick. Okay, we're probably going to see a lot of waterfall pics in the beginning
because
here.
Waterfalls are so beautiful. I think we've seen this one before.
That's possible.
I do like you did. Let's see, what's your shutter speed? 1 second, so you got some feathery movement.
Oh. You could have, like, you have your camera on a tripod, take a picture, wait a couple of minutes, take another picture, and then maybe you can take those people out. Or wait for somebody with like a pretty red umbrella to step up there. But those people, they're kind of become a focal point because they're the only human in there. And she's scratching her back like, yeah, that could have been better.
It kind of gives it some scale though. So
I like a person in there, yeah. But if they were like holding a red umbrella, that would be ideal.
Okay. It's a big ask, but Tony asked for. Okay. Frank Abbott. This is a beautiful sunset. And again, the sunset is one of those things that's so beautiful that often people just try to take a picture of the beautiful thing, but you made sure that you added some foreground and you have some nice compositional elements. Again, you have this leading line here of the water, which is pretty in the foreground. I like the way that the grasses are as well. Yeah, it's good.
I'll say in my many years, a lesson it took me a long time to learn is to look at the wind speeds around sunset. If you see a nice sunset and the wind is still, that means you can include the reflections in better. So often I will put my drone up over the river nearby here and get these like gorgeous reflections. But think about your wind speed. I keep the wind speed right here on my watch so that I'd be like, oh, it's almost sunset and the wind is 2 miles an hour. Okay, great still water, great reflections.
I'm just bringing up the luminance of the blues a little bit because they got a bit dark around the edges. And you can go into your color mixer channel and then you can manipulate the colors by the hue, the saturation, and the luminance. So I have just luminance and then it just brightens up the photo a little bit.
Yeah, great shot, Frank.
I like that. Waimea Canyon.
This is, I feel like the focal point is definitely the waterfall, and it's such a small part of it. But at the same time, it does give us a sense for the overall scale of everything. Like this mountain just feels huge. I guess my biggest gripe is it feels very hazy and there's nothing happening in the sky. So I totally get you probably don't live near Waimea Canyon. So maybe you just visited this spot once and you took the best shot you could, and this is probably that. But if it's the spot you can revisit, then there's a lot of potential to get better conditions, prettier conditions, nice clouds, maybe a little frost or snow on it, or revisiting and letting nature change the other variables and revisiting it over and over would definitely produce a better image. But I think you got a good image of what you could.
If you were watching, Rich, I was just playing around with some of the different ways to add contrast with color and the white slider, and just added a tiny bit of pop. But
yeah, there is literally a dehaze slider, which fixes haze.
The 2010 single expose natural colors of an eclipse. This is fantastic.
Yeah, this is gorgeous.
I don't know. I can't add any. I don't know what to tell you. I think you did it. How do you
really
feel?
a single exposure? That's so shocking. I mean, that turned out gorgeous.
Whoa. I was just curious about what was going on in there. Yeah, good. I wish.
That's great. Beautiful shot. You got to pick.
Okay.
Is my head tilty or? Okay, we have like a hard horizon line there, so it's important that that be level, or people like me will be distracted. Very prominent are the rocks in the foreground. In fact, I think that's more prominent than the colors. But there's not a lot going on in the rocks in the foreground. I think if there were like a little blue crab scampering along the rocks, that would help make it a focal point. Without that extra focal point, what I might do is zoom in, maybe even 35 under 16 to 35, and make the fall colors in the distance a little more prominent.
I went into the gradient slider, and I would try changing the color of the water a little bit to make it more interesting.
You know, that's a great idea. It was greenish. It didn't feel appetizing.
Appetizing. You're not supposed to eat it.
Okay.
That could be a problem. But yeah, I do like that you included something in the foreground. I think that's nice. Okay. Pine to Palms sunrise. I like the mountain behind it, the colors.
This makes me think of Grand Theft Auto for some reason.
Yeah, it looks like the
that.
cover.
Yeah.
I like all of the layers. I love that you have the trees, the hills, the mountain. I think that I would maybe just add some interest to the sky. Let's see what's going on in there, first of all. Okay, there's not a lot of detail. Let's bring down the highlights a little bit.
Yeah, it's really just haze.
It is hazy, but there are colors in there. So I think that you could just kind of intensify them a little bit. And it's not a huge impact, but instead of being hazy, it just looks a little bit brighter. But yeah, I think you could even crop. And I know that's going to kind of surprise everyone that we would say such a thing. Ooh, that's very wide. Let's see. But I think what you're really taking a picture of is just the layers of the trees and the sky in the background. So why not just isolate?
I like the idea of making this a vertical crop, maybe even just kind of rule of thirds-ish.
I don't know. Just some suggestions for you to think about.
What a gorgeous scene. I don't know. I love the low contrast of this. Usually I'd be like trying to adjust the white and black points, but I love that this is low contrast. It feels very peaceful.
I like the colors too. It's so spring with this pale green and the purple flowers.
Yeah, I think this is a beautiful scene. I think this could be a great print. You know what? I like it a little bit warmer, even better. I'm giving Julianne a pick. Great shot. Here's a similar shot, like possibly even taken in the same woods, but this one, I feel like it lacks a focal point because the bottom whole half of the picture is just like brown leaves. Don't you feel like if we tilted it back, it could have been a more balanced composition, but the bottom feels like too heavy to me.
What I like about this picture is that there's no payoff for some reason. And normally I'd say you even kind of raise the exposure here to make it blank. So you made this empty space, this void, the subject. And I like that. There's something that's upsetting the natural order here, and I think it works. Do you feel what I'm feeling?
Now that you mention it, definitely, yeah, it does. It feels almost like sci-fi, like something is
Yes.
coming to eat
Yes.
us all.
It's creepy in a beautiful way.
I don't
like
think that was his intention. But.
I don't know. Maybe it was. You can talk about it. You can tell us about it.
Okay, this is gorgeous. Wow. Oh man, I wish we had like Rocky Mountains like that out here on the East Coast.
I know I told you shouldn't drink the water, but I want to drink this water. It looks so crisp. I'm going to take a drink of my water just to satisfy the urge.
Jan, this is a gorgeous spot, and this is exactly what we mean by nature photography. Now, sunsets, usually I'm telling people you got to like clip the whites a little bit, but with sunsets, I feel like you lose so much of the color and fidelity when you start to get near the right side of the histogram, and I think that happens some here. So I'm going to add a graduated filter here, a linear gradient, and just drag it through in the middle here. So I can just drop the exposure of the top part a little bit, and I'm not going to get the full detail out of this because I have a JPEG and not the RAW file. But you can see actually the colors look better in the reflection because they're a little less exposed. You kind of want to underexpose your sunsets and sunrises, the skies. You want to underexpose them a little bit so you can get the most out of the color. But you get a pick. That is a gorgeous shot.
Yeah.
Hide that away.
That's
I
really
gotta
beautiful.
always close the mask before I go to the next one. Pain in the butt. Okay. Okay, close-up waterfall pick. I feel like it needs some more context because it's just like, this is the waterfall, right?
Waterfalls are very difficult. In one of our
They're
latest
so
videos, we just went to Puerto Rico specifically to get astrophotography, but we got rain every day. And then we went to waterfalls and figured we'd get that. But one of the problems is if you don't have a beautiful sky, it can make it more difficult. So I feel you. It's a beautiful thing in person that's difficult to make it convey.
Also, Varun forgot his ND filter. So they shot at f/25 in 1/10 of a second. But that's, to me, that's kind of not enough to get the feathery waterfall effect. Like, I feel like you need to be, I like to be at 5 seconds or longer. 3 seconds is good. 1/10 of a second ends up being a little bit jagged.
I think you did the best that you could have done here.
Yeah, in the situation.
Richard, you've got 2 deer. Seems like maybe they're in your yard or park. I like how they're both drinking in unison, so that's nice. This tree in the foreground is maybe the most prominent thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I know that the photo, it's a little blurry here, but I think that I would actually just crop in so that the tree wasn't stealing the focus.
Yeah, and the real answer is to get a lens that's a little bit longer, and I know it's kind of a pain, but you're at your max 55 millimeters with that kit lens, so go ahead and like get yourself a 70-300 or something.
If you can't buy new gear, you could also get closer, and you could hide out in a blind, or you could dress up like something in my garden. Seems to work to get the deer to get closer to you.
You have some good techniques for getting closer to deer. I've seen you walk right up to deer where you could just touch them, and they are not bothered by you.
You have to act like a deer.
Act like a deer. And Chelsea does a great deer impression that fools deers. Literally, I've seen it.
Yes, act like a deer.
So Neil got a close-up of a single subject, which I think is a great thing to do. Like the same thing we do in car shows. When there's too much distraction, you find a single subject. This is a beautiful leaf.
I like this. I give it a pick. I like the colors.
I almost called it a feather, like it's some kind of like a tree feather.
Yeah. Let's cut over to Frank. Frank, do you have any questions or comments from people?
Oh, this is Frank, our producer. He's back. People were worried about you last week, Frank, because it had been like 3 weeks.
Yeah, hey everybody. It's been a little while. It's sickness here. I got a couple little kids at home and just a couple things going on, but nice to be back. Yeah, we have a couple questions here. Tony and Chelsea, they asked a question in the forums and several people had answered, but what was your first camera? And Jordan Bloomfield asked a question, do you shoot manual white balance when shooting nature, or do you just do it in auto?
So my first camera was a Canon Elan 2E, a film camera. And it's also what kicked off this whole career because it was like an extra $100 to get the E, which was eye tracking autofocus, like the R3 has, where you could look and it would use the tracking point that you looked at. And it worked so bad, and I was so mad that I spent an extra $100 on that I wrote my very first review on my own little blog. And after that, I was like really trying to help people figure out which camera they should buy without wasting any money. What about you?
My very first was my mom's Minolta. I don't even know what model it was. It was this point and shoot film camera.
Oh, Sony, even before they were Sony.
Yeah, and then my first camera as someone taking pictures was like a T2i or something like
Yeah,
that.
nice little Canon
Yeah.
APS-C.
Yeah.
What about white balance? Like I never worry about white balance. I don't want to be thinking about more camera settings than necessary. So auto white balance on all my cameras all the time.
I use auto white balance, but in nature there are times when the colors can get screwed up.
Yeah, definitely.
So-
Especially sunrises and sunsets, but I just fix it in post.
Yeah. Okay. This is an amazing picture.
This is so much detail. Like I feel like you need a big screen to really consume this properly, right?
Well, I also want to point out we had another landscape picture that looked flat, and it was because the atmosphere was flat. So Mike, of course, you used all your skills and you have a great composition here, but because of these really dramatic clouds and the lighting, you got a more dramatic photo. So sometimes it's just a matter of going out and taking more photos. But I love the color contrast here, these gray blues in the sky, the reds of the rock, you have this really verdant green in the valley, and then the leading line of this path. You have so many nice elements coming together to make a beautiful picture.
And I want to point out, Mike is shooting with an iPhone 12.
You know, when there's a
Good work.
beautiful
You don't need
scene,
the
you don't
expensive gear.
need the most expensive gear.
So this is Ben, and it's
Ben
clear
O'Loughlin.
the distance was very hazy.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben did some post-processing that I'm feeling like was too much.
Well, sometimes you can just raise, we can raise the whites a little bit. So here's what I'm a little concerned about, just Ben. See this blue here? Do you see how it's getting kind of gray and mushy? Sometimes that happens. Maybe there's HDR going on here where it can compress like all the whites and kind of mush everything into the middle so that you end up with colors that are looking kind of mushy. I don't know another word. Do you have another word other than mushy? But if I brighten it up, you can see it becomes more clear.
Yeah.
So when you're doing processing, you just want to make sure that it's not killing that clearness. I like the layers that you have, and I really like the color gradient. And maybe this foreground element is just distracting. So if we took it to 8x10, maybe you could get those beautiful layers and just simplify a little bit.
See, I liked the foreground tree.
I like this foreground tree, but the other foreground
you're right,
tree
that's amazing.
wasn't kind to me.
Okay.
But good
Take
job,
those
Ben.
settings and back them off like 15%.
Here's Tommy Papa. You know I have to do that all the time. I edit,
yeah.
edit, and then I try to walk away, and when I come back, I'll think, wow, you went too far this time, Chelsea. You have to dial it back.
I go too far every time.
Yeah, and there's a slider too that will help you do that. So let's go in. I'll show you how that works on Tommy Papa's photo. Welcome back, Tommy Papa. So if we go to this side, oh, that's the preset slider. Where is the slider that does your overall edits? Do you know where that is?
Is that a slider? Because presets have the amount slider over here on the left. After you apply a preset, you can dial it up or down.
That's what I do. Ready? So this is what I do. If you don't buy my presets, which, am I happy about that? No, but I'm going to teach you how to get around it. So let's say you do all of your edits, then you can go in and you can make them a preset. I'll call this one Almost Chelsea.
CHE::EA. Good name.
And then you can go here and you can dial it down the amount that you want.
Okay. So you make a preset, you reset the photo, you apply the preset, and then you dial it down.
Yes.
Okay. I like that. We should.
I don't have to make the preset because I actually use my own presets, and you should do that for yourself too. Like you can use mine, but even if you don't, make your own presets so that you're having a consistent style and you can just easily dial back your edits when you go. You will go too far. It's just human nature. We can't control it.
I like Tommy Papa's picture because for some reason the bright white background actually makes me feel like one of those Japanese prints.
A lithograph or something?
Maybe. You know what I'm
what it's
talking
called.
about?
I
Like
think
it
so.
gives that feel. And
Oh, like a block
It's
print?
almost abstract. Yeah, exactly. But
I think
I'll
it's
give it a
cool.
try.
I like the composition, how it's creeping in from the side and the bottom.
Yeah.
Looks neat. Tommy Papa. Tommy always shares a little clip of the show and then I repost them on Instagram. So if y'all want to do that, I do go on after the show and just repost some of your pictures if you want me to do that. Let's see. Bram.
This feels like muddy to me,
Are
right?
do you mean mushy?
I mean mushy.
Yeah.
First, like the right side of the histogram isn't used here, so it definitely improves it to go ahead and use up all that contrast. But there's still there's some weird glow around the trees here. You see it, right?
Maybe
Am I
that's
hallucinating?
maybe that was intentional.
If so, I'm not feeling it. But here's what I like. I like that there are ducks in the foreground, and in fact, I might even like zoom in and crop a little bit more. Like not all landscapes are taken with super wide angle lenses like the one that you're using. Often you need to zoom in a little bit. There are actually very few places where super wide angles work. Like you can go to Iceland and use a super wide angle lens, but around here, if I'm getting a decent landscape, I'm at 70 millimeters or longer.
I like that you got the ducks in here,
Yeah,
and the grasses are pretty, and the sunset's pretty. There's so much to like.
but just for the sake of argument, like if you'd had a telephoto lens, this is going to be blurry, but something like this, right?
I like.
Zoom in on the focal point
Cropping.
a little bit.
I think it could be said that we like cropping.
Are these like storks?
Um,
And a Sony A99.
is that a great
the
blue
way.
heron baby? Tell us, Timothy. I don't see Timothy in the chat.
Oh, really good shot. I don't know what else to say about it, but it's good.
I would just say to get the white, try to get the white feathers white, and they look like you're getting color cast from the green.
Yeah.
And the opposite of green is magenta. So if you have green color cast, you go into magenta, and you
Okay.
can slide it a little bit and balance the whites a tiny bit. And then also sometimes you have to add some, this can be difficult. But yeah, wow. They are interesting little creatures, aren't they? I give you a pick because I've never seen that before. Eric Logan. This reminds me of that movie Twilight.
Right, because it's the mood that it's
It's like
processed in, right?
blue hues in a forest. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm feeling the processing though. It feels very flat to me.
I think I would just like my eyes to rest somewhere.
Yeah, if you could find like a little mushroom or a frog or something to
Or a
make the focal
vampire.
point.
With a young lady.
Oh my God, the next shot is a mushroom.
Whoa.
Thank you, Zoltan, for like really hammering my point home.
Wow. You ask for a mushroom and you receive. That was kind of crazy.
I know. We can do a couple of these things. Like, I would go ahead and like grab that stick and just move it. You know, I know some people will get mad at me. Okay, Lightroom did a terrible job of erasing that. Oh wait, we have generative remove now.
Wait, you have early access?
I know. I'm not supposed to show this.
Wait, what? Really?
I hope not. Anyway, they're bringing the
What are you
generative
talking
fill to Lightroom, and let's see, try a few different. Why did it make the same thing for all three? Okay. Anyway,
So
that didn't
you
work
tried
out
to
great.
remove a stick and it just made 3 more sticks? Is that what I just saw happen?
Yeah.
Well, it's our dog's dream, the stick generator.
Anyway, I would clean up some of the distractions in the foreground. It's easier to do it when you're there, like look at the viewfinder and then move this stuff around a little bit. Don't go knocking any trees down or anything, but you can move a couple of sticks. It's okay.
So this is just like my idea, but I would change the colors and stuff so that it looked like a beautiful little fairy lived here. And that's 100% artistic interpretation. You don't have to do that at all. But it just feels like the mood to me. You could even add a brush and make it look like there was some more sunshine.
Great shot, Zoltan.
Sorry, sometimes I go a little crazy over here. Okay. Why'd I do that to your picture? I'm sorry. Okay, let's keep moving. What do you think?
Well, Simon got the focal point, right? That's what we're looking for in so many of these nature shots. And the 2 bucks with their just huge racks, like that is gorgeous. I mean, I'm giving you a pick because I know that's not happening all the time. And the fact that you got this rare moment when like the ice forms on the trees, like if you live in a cold place like this is still pretty rare. Usually it's like a freezing rain that will cause this sort of look. And when that happens, you can bet I'm driving around with my camera like looking for a spot like this. So this like all came together for Simon, and he made it work.
Yeah, I like that. I was trying to make it more dramatic, but I'm having a hard time isolating what I want. But I was trying to make this foreground more blue, but keep the sky that pink color.
Yeah.
But I'm failing to do it quickly enough to keep you all engaged. So I'm going to go to Joe Nitro's photo of this fern. And it's beautiful. I love that you made it black and white. You're showing the contrast. There's beautiful shadows, great detail. And then also
I don't like the frame though.
you lowered the exposure enough that it's almost seems like it's in the studio because it's black behind there, which I'm sure is probably just the ground of the forest, but really beautiful. I actually think we could just like pop,
Yeah, just brighten it up a little.
pick. And hey, Frank, any other thoughts over there? Questions?
Yeah, got a couple comments here. Ollie Joe, she says hi to me every time I'm on here. I don't think I've ever said hi, so hi Ollie Joe. But she wanted to make a comment, and she said that so Tony started this YouTube channel out of anger, which I thought was pretty good. And Lee Highland said Chelsea is Bambi. And we just had a question from Outdoor Explorer, and I know you guys can answer this one. Do you use a tripod or a monopod when shooting with the 600 f4? And if so, is there a head that you prefer?
Oh my gosh, you have a head that you really like.
So the Manfrotto system works the best, and the big Manfrotto gimbal head works the best. And we've tried a couple of others, and they're just not quite as smooth. It is painfully expensive, but it works absolutely great. I got it used at KEH.
Well, you don't have to get the best to get good enough.
Yeah,
So,
but for still photos, we generally don't use a tripod. But I use it always for video. And often, if we're going to be there a long time, I find the tripod is worth it because the act of like lifting your camera up to get a shot will often startle the animals. So when you can just have it there, it's a little less disturbing.
yeah, I use them sometimes.
We should go into speedrun now because it's about half past.
Oh.
And this is where we just look for thumbnails that catch our eye. And I think this is key because on social media, people decide whether they're going to look at your picture based on the thumbnail. This favors simple compositions that tell the story at a small scale, and that's a really important skill for photographers to develop. Now, Kyle's picture here, I thought worked well even as a thumbnail, and this is a great shot. I'm going to give him a pick right away. I included a foreground subject, f9, produced plenty of depth of field.
I also think it has great color contrast with the bright red in the foreground and the blues in the background. Even if something I've noticed about really good photos is that you can squint and not even really know what's going on, and it still looks good. So if you think of really modern or contemporary art where it's just color splotches on a canvas, they're playing with breaking down the things that makes a composition good in the most simple way possible. And if you can think about your photos like that, then you can come up with a really good photo. So if you were to just have a kid scribble the basics of that picture, it would still look good. It would be red and blue and a pleasing composition. Like this, actually, is a great example.
I'm actually surprised this is the first aerial photo we've seen because drones are great for nature photography. They give you an angle you can't otherwise get. And this just caught my eye because it's a very simple composition. You get a pick.
Yeah, I give it 5 stars, which is better than Tony's pick.
And Dave's shot here, he's got the fog plan, right? This like low rolling fog can be so gorgeous. And the snow is clumped on the tree. It hasn't been blown down yet.
You know what though?
Light. And he's in Yellowstone.
We've got
everything.
We
Oh,
don't
you
have
gotta clean
everything.
the sensor dust?
No. I mean, there is sensor dust,
yeah.
but there's also a little bit of, we got the mush going on again, Dave, but you can just clean that up if you go into the blue. If you go into the blue color mixer, you could play around with that. You could go into saturation. But just, I think a theme here is demushing. And, okay.
Great shot, Dave.
I don't like the speed round. I like the round where we try to look at every photo and fail.
Okay, here is a close-up photo of a jumping spider, wolf spider, and so gorgeous. I mean, look, he's got like pollen stuck to him. Wow. You get a pick, Charles. That's incredible. And
That's really cute.
technically so difficult. Okay, I gotta go here because...
Lupine?
Oh, I thought it was the blue bonnets. Forget it then. Sorry. Okay. No, it's very nice. You put the almost blue bonnets in the foreground. It would be a better shot if it were blue bonnets coming from a Texas boy. But
It's a
this is still
Texas
nice.
thing.
Yeah.
You know how those Texans are.
The mountains in the background get a little close. So give a little more space at the top.
Whoa, look at this drama.
Wow. Yeah, that is an intense storm. And you did a good job. Like, most people will hide when the weather starts to get bad, but you went out. That's the right thing to do.
I think you could play with the colors and make them as dramatic as the scene.
Yeah.
But whoa, that's cool. All right, go back to your grid.
Raccoons are so sweet, right? This is a great shot, Bev.
Yeah.
It looks like it was pretty heavily cropped, but I know you did what you could.
But it's the expression and the little lean. And
Yeah.
also the behind the raccoon is not distracting, so you got some good subject separation.
Yeah.
I had a raccoon named Mama that used to come to my house, and I called her that because she had all these babies, and she would bring them into our fenced-in area, and I would leave snacks out for them. I'm sorry to admit that, but they were so cute. Sorry, Tony. You left them garbage, I guess.
This shot is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, that's just gorgeous.
It
Look, you can see the little water droplets on her head.
It looks hyper-realistic.
Wow.
Let's
You
give
got
it a pick.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, what else here is catching your eye? I love the composition of this one. We have a focal point of the person in the middle. Nice, simple composition. Works great as a thumbnail. Beautiful shot.
Pick. What the people with these great photos, they don't need as much feedback. Shouldn't we pick a photo that doesn't stand out and tell them why?
Okay, go for it.
Well, that just feels cruel.
Pick the worst shot, Chelsea. Call that person out.
Well, now that I said it, I feel real bad. Well, okay, so this one I can tell is a great shot, actually.
Yeah.
But the reason why it wasn't standing out in the grid is because there's not a lot of contrast. Oh, sorry. But you can do that in post. So let's work on that. So we'll select the background, and we can lower the exposure and put up the contrast. And then we can add another layer and select the subject. And we'll add some color separation by just brightening up the animal. We don't have to change the color. We're just intensifying the colors. We're popping the whites a little bit. And now there's more contrast.
And can we
Let's go back to the grid.
do the subject separation, though? I know we've gone too far.
Wait, you want to take it too far? Oh.
Okay, now let's look at the before and after.
Okay, so now you had a photo that wasn't really popping, and by adding contrast in color and in luminance, you're able to make your subject stand out more. I hope that helps. You just can't go wrong with one of these.
The only thing Europe has that's better than America are the robins. The European robins are so cute.
Wow.
Our
Those
robins
seem like,
straight up suck. And you got a great shot of it, Dave.
why are you saying so many hurtful things? Oh my gosh. Wow,
Yeah,
Linda.
that shot's great. A little
Linda.
scary. Oh, there's a little bird there. I didn't even
Oh
see it
my
at first.
gosh,
Get out of
this-
the way, quail.
This is a buddy cop
Run.
film. This is a Disney film. I give you 5 stars and a pick. You did so many things right. And just getting there was the first thing you did right.
Now, this is a thumbnail, right? It's a simple composition.
Now that's a thumbnail.
I don't know that it needs all the... Oh, it's like on paper or something. Okay. Is that
Oh.
on paper?
No, I think it's that place in the desert where
The sky's made of paper?
there's a sand dune behind the trees.
Oh. Okay. I have no
Tell
idea
us
what
if
you're
that's
talking
the
about.
sand dune behind the trees. Okay,
Okay, we got to re-import
we do.
the silhouette of the fox. Now that's about subject separation, right? 140. Okay, that's
Is
really
he
cute.
eating?
Looks like a carrot slice, maybe? That's really cute. I give you a pick.
Okay, they got us. They got us with that one. Look at this owl, Frank.
Yeah, I like that.
Whoa.
Oh my God, that is so detailed. That's so 450 millimeters.
Whoa, what happened? I was thinking it might look good in black and white. Dramatic owl. You didn't like it?
Mm.
Okay, do you want to re-import? I just feel bad because there's so many great pictures. I don't want to miss them. Look at the bear. Oh,
This is so close up. I can't believe he was comfortable with you getting there at 400 millimeters. And
why
wow.
does the fish
I mean,
seem like
this
this is
is
what he wanted?
one of the best GBHs I've ever seen. This shot is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's so tight.
I
Oh,
would
great shot.
be so happy if I got that moment of the
Mhm.
fish just accepting its fate. Whoa, look at this one too. Ah,
Yeah, that's the fish that the herons I'm always photographing get, like the tiniest little, like size of your pinky fish.
look at Thomas was near lava and it's gonna roll right into these flowers. Be careful, Thomas. All right, I guess it is time to re-import. I just like looking at their pictures so much. Look at this one.
I know, they're the right robins.
Okay, you can re-import and Frank do you have any other questions or comments?
Look at that. Maya. This picture's gorgeous.
Good to see
Sorry,
you again.
Frank.
No, it's okay.
I just caught this. It's the two birds there. It's
Yeah.
the birds that make the whole shot. You get to pick Maya.
I
and
think
I
it's
swear I'm
the
gonna re-import.
colors are so beautiful too.
Yeah, great shot. And welcome back.
Frank,
I'll
what's up
re-import.
over there?
I was going to make a comment real quick when you guys were just doing that lens blur there through Lightroom. I've used that quite a few times recently, and it's worked fantastic. My dream lens is, let's say, a 400 millimeter 2.8, just because that background separation is incredible. I've rented it before, and it was amazing, but I've used the lens blur in Lightroom, and I've gotten some pretty great results out of it that you can almost make it look like you have an extremely expensive lens like that. So I like that feature that they have. And a question from Anna C said, what is the best aperture to use if, let's say, you have a flower in the foreground and a nice sunset in the background? And should you bracket the shot, or should you just take a single exposure?
I think bracketing works really well so that you can still get the colors that you want in the sunset saturated and then properly expose the foreground photo. And I think that the aperture depends on your lighting and how far away the background is. So
It's tough to say, but I would probably start at like f11, and then I overshoot. When a shot is really good, I take all the options. I'm like, okay, I'll be at f22, I'll be at
Sure.
f4, and I will bracket it. Just overshoot when it's the amazing moment, because if you're like me, I get a little too excited, and then my head's not clear and focused, and I will make mistakes. But if I take every possible picture, then I can't make a mistake.
no,
right?
I always think it's annoying that you do that, but then you often end up with the better picture because you just don't know until you see it
Yeah.
large. But that is great advice. Anything else, Frank?
That's it. We're all caught up. If you're ready for the next import, we're good.
Someone made a good point. He said that. I can't find it now, but someone brought up the point that what I did to the coyote, where I brought up the exposure, would not fly in a photo competition. And of course, if you're a photojournalist, then what you're allowed to do with editing is different than if you're just posting to Instagram. So if there are rules in a photo competition, then obviously you have to follow those. But we're just giving ideas for what you could do when you edit. I'm just looking for a few more. I saw another one. Oli Joe said, the sky's made of paper. Tony unlocked a new conspiracy. And John said, yes, that's Dead Ville, and that's a sand dune behind the tree. That's why it had texture. So I'd seen that.
I had never heard of this before.
Well, I'm just a very worldly woman, so, you know. Okay, what do we have here?
I'm gonna step in real quick. Oli Joe, I'm sorry I called you a she before. I just thought I was thinking Ollie Joe, and I kind of put it as a girl's name, and you called me out on it. So I know you're a man now.
Oh, okay.
Here is a flower from Stefan. I think it's really cute. This one pops out as a thumbnail because it's a simple composition.
It is simple. I'm sure this was a part of a big, beautiful tree, but you managed to isolate it, and that was a cool idea.
Yeah, that's often the right choice. This is a gorgeous shot of the sunrise or sunset. Nice long exposure with 30 seconds makes all this kind of smoothed out. I feel like we could crop in some. I see you're at the long end of your zoom. Again, so many landscape shots are better off a little more telephoto.
I like the foreground, and I always am talking about color, but I love the color contrast of the pink on the top and the green on the bottom. And again, if you do the squint test on this and you squint, there's 3 distinct layers and it's a pretty well-balanced composition, so I like that. Will I pop the whites like I do every time? Absolutely. Why wouldn't I? Pick.
Great shot, Tor.
Something seems off about this, Bob. I wish the moon would do that. That's cool.
Yeah, it could be, the moon really could up its game. Like, it could be a better focal
could
point
be
for us photographers,
better.
right?
Well, I mean, we know that this is a comp, but I do like that you have this cool piece of land jutting in. I like the balance of the composition, the people fishing.
Yeah, what makes this work is the simple composition, no distractions. Same thing with this. I actually love that the fog, the haze is the snow that is reducing the amount of contrast in the image.
Yeah.
You get a pick, Mike. Great shot.
What is this character? I like when squirrels are just eating tortillas. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's a cute moment, Tico.
And the bear.
I still have yet to see a bear in the wild. I gotta do some more travel.
Where was one at Frank's house? Just go to Frank's house, hang out by his garbage can.
Okay, Frank, don't shoot me if you see me over there. I'm just gonna be by your trash cans for a long time.
You can hang out all you want.
This one's really beautiful. I love the glow of the forest, and I might just up the exposure and the contrast and accentuate that glow. Let's put some texture.
Now I wish this had a bright white spot in the middle like that other image did. Now I'm missing it.
See? I'm going to give this a pick.
Good
I like
shot,
that.
Paul.
Oh, a little hidden ladybug. I wish we could see the eyes.
Yeah, you know, I see so many sunflower photos, but you found the focal point, you focused on it, and that is enough to provide contrast and make it really
I
interesting.
think
Good
you
shot,
could
Beth.
also, just to play around, Beth, so we could do a little collab over here, I think you might be able to simplify it, because I know it's a, I know that it's a sunflower.
Yeah.
So maybe we could just do something simple like that.
I think that works great. Finally, another aerial shot.
You like the aerial shots with a drone.
Yeah, it's just a different perspective, and it makes nature a little bit more abstract. But you went out on a day when it had freshly snowed, and it turned out really good. Get a pick. Oh, okay, this is a little scary. It's like a crocodile, maybe?
I don't know. I like it. Okay, let's go. Daniel. I like the colors here. I think the
great lighting.
foreground gets a little lost because it's so gray, but that's tough. That's the lighting. Maybe if we add a little contrast, but I love this beautiful light on the mountain.
Mm.
Yeah, very nice.
I feel like with butterflies, but really all wildlife, you benefit from having backlight or front lighting. The sun is behind your back. And here, most of the butterfly is in shadow, and that means like so much of the color is lost. You control that by just moving your body around and waiting for something to line up.
Yeah, we can simplify a little bit too.
I mean, we have some good color pop in that foreground wing, but whew, okay, this is a great shot.
Wow.
The intensity in the eyes, the simple composition. Oh man, okay, it definitely helps to have the background kind of nice and cool like that.
Y'all really don't want to watch my color video, huh? I'm telling you, just simple, understanding simple color contrast is going to make your photos.
Yeah, look at the before and after there. It just, like, it's a great shot. But that little separation.
I went a
helps.
little too far, but I admitted earlier that I do that. So let's just bring it up a little bit. There we go. But wow, pick, beautiful.
Great shot, Brian.
You all are so talented. Jordan, I also think that this piece of wood is beautiful, but right now, the form and texture of the wood that we like is competing with all of the texture in the background. So you could find it in better light if you can shoot it again, or...
And I'm baffled about why he chose f8 for this situation, because I think you could have gone to f2.8, and that definitely would have given you some subject separation from in the form of background blur.
Ooh.
Beautiful skies, Tom, but half the image is just kind of very dark grasses.
Yeah, that's what I was going to address here.
Yeah.
We could do Sometimes the linear gradient messes it up. Let's see. Sometimes it doesn't look that good.
I still think it's going to help, but there's still no point of interest in the foreground.
I don't know. I think it's nice just as a plain. There's something about it being simple, but maybe it's just underexposed altogether. Let's see.
Yeah, it's tough. As soon as you start cranking up the overall exposure, you're going to lose that like richness of the sky.
I liked his before better.
I think it's better with a little brighter foreground.
I like the colors. What if we did a different crop ratio? Like,
yeah, like put that horizon in the bottom third, maybe crop out some of the grasses.
yeah,
It's too much grasses.
wait, with something wider. I'm struggling. Like a 16 by 9, so there's less grass, but just as much sky.
Definitely better.
Whoa. This is how you're going to be after your margarita.
This is really cute. I think we missed focus. Your camera caught the leaf here, which is tough. You might have to manually focus. Or what I do for nature shots like this, especially macro, I'll put the camera in continuous mode and lock off autofocus, and then I'll just lean in and out. And that way, like, one shot is going to be sharp. And like we talked about earlier, I tend to overshoot when I have a good moment.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to be. I get to introduce color.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I was wondering why it felt like it was processed a little much, and it's because it was taken with a Samsung, and like they really try to like make their landscape shots really amped up, and I think you're suffering from that a little bit, but sometimes you can offset that by just shooting raw with the smartphone. Sometimes they bake it in. You can't overcome it.
Nice. Let's look. It's pretty. You were in a pretty spot. Jeff, look at this guy. You caught a great moment. Let's see, what do you have? 1/640th. So when these birds are hunting, I tend to go fast enough to catch the action. So I'd be at like 1/1500th at least, maybe 1/2000th of a second. What do you have here? 100 to 400-4.5.
Yeah, it's fine for this moment, but you're right. The more exciting moment is they'll toss it up to reposition it in their mouth. I think when they toss it, that can be the moment, and so you plan your shutter speed for that moment.
So plan your shutter speed. I like to be in shutter priority. There's no one way to do it, but the reason I like shutter priority is if they're being still, I can quickly bump down my shutter speed. And then if they're about to fish, then I crank it back up. And then the other thing I do for wildlife is I always expose for the whitest part of the bird so that it doesn't get lost. Yours did not get clipped. But even here you can see by me lowering the exposure, it's exposing the bird better. So let's just look. So this looks actually not sharp because it's overexposed, but once it was exposed properly, it looks more crisp. There you go. Tony, we've got a wide angle shot. It can be done. Look at these lines here. Pretty.
Yeah, this is cool, and it was taken with a drone too. This is definitely a perspective you couldn't have gotten. The sun is a little blinding. We could have gotten better skies. I think it's a beautiful spot with
beautiful.
This like gorgeous land in the foreground there.
I wonder.
I'll say, I think you used the built-in panorama feature from the drone, and I hate the way they process panoramas because it's like you either have a standard shot or you have like 180 degrees and there's nothing in between. I wish they gave you more flexibility there, but I'll often just manually take multiple pictures and then stitch it together in Lightroom, and you can get more natural looking effects there. The lens doesn't handle the contrast of shooting into the sun well, which is why the sun is just one big white spot as opposed to like a little starburst or something more attractive. And that's kind of a limitation of the drone. Like I wish we could get high quality cameras in our drones.
You could. You would just have to buy a much more expensive
You'd have to
drone.
buy the Sony and stick an A7R5 on there, yeah.
Yeah, that would be tough.
You're
This is beautiful.
down 20K.
Wow.
Okay. The subject separation here, the fact that they're positioned so the bird is not behind the tree branch, the tree trunk to the right of it, but the darker leaves, that makes it really pop. This is a gorgeous shot.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Pick.
Definitely get a pick.
Wow. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my God, this looks fake.
That's incredible.
The mist here is fantastic. This looks like it should belong on the cover of one of those hunting magazines.
Yeah, I'm giving this a pick. This is just so gorgeous.
But
What?
I got to provide some helpful feedback. You said you use shutter priority for wildlife. In a situation like this, the animal is pretty still. Crank that shutter speed down. Like get a shot at 1/680th, but then you could easily shoot this at 1/100th, and you'd get a cleaner image out of it. A minor point, because this is a fantastic shot.
This is so beautiful. It looks fake. Look at you. Did you put that leaf there, smarty pants? What a good idea.
I feel okay about that. I feel like you could have gotten a little lower and seen a little more of the waterfall in the background.
But good. I like that. You
Yeah.
took a waterfall and you put something, you made another subject and you made it a little more interesting, because without it, I think it would be too plain.
Yeah. A little mouse.
Cute. I'm going to crop because you know me. I'm just going to crop out this little bit. And then I like the brightness of the left part of the frame is pulling my attention away. So I like that. That's cute.
Good shot.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah, this is a really tight shot.
Yeah. Pick.
And I'd crop it, but that's a great shot. Oh my God.
Whoa, you
That is so
could.
deep.
You can crop forever. Let's do it.
And that's in a DA10.
D8.
That's an old camera.
I know, but the
you remember
D810 is
that?
great. Yes.
Yeah.
I had the D810.
I just like it when people use old gear. and
Me
still get
too.
Great results.
Me too. Pick again in case I didn't already do that. Whoa.
Okay.
Okay. I just am happy to see this. I give it a pick.
Does he not have gloves on?
No, he doesn't need gloves.
He's got his. Wow. What is even happening?
Honey pouring out.
Traditional honey harvest in Timor-Leste. Okay.
Wow.
Sorry, it was off topic, but you just blew our minds with that. I like this. This is almost an abstract wildlife shot, but I think it's taken through a window, so we're seeing like weird reflections through the glass.
I like just. I like the layers,
Yeah, I think. Yeah, you're right. I like it even a little simpler.
but cool. I like that. Good eye. Pick.
Great shot, Leslie.
Okay.
Okay, we have 7 minutes left. Should we?
What are we going to do? Do we have any more questions or comments? Frank? Whoa.
Yeah, we did. Somebody asked what the best Sony camera they could get under $1,000 would be. And looks like Simeon Bennett said tips for catching diving kingfishers. He has an R5 and an 800 f11. I can tell you right off the bat, that is a tough shot. As the amount of kingfishers we hear and see when we go out, it's so hard to track them down and even harder to get that diving shot. So
Did you know I saw a diving kingfisher recently, Frank?
no, I didn't.
We were in the kayak. We had our 600 f4, and it flew over and it dove and it caught a fish, and I caught it. I got the picture, but it's so far away that it's not a good picture.
Yeah, they're so small. I mean, you're going to have to plan ahead. You're going to have to watch the animal's behavior and pick a spot where you think it might be, and then you just wait and you wait and you wait.
And you go and you go and you go and you go
Yeah,
and practice
months.
on every single bird, because if you're only getting kingfisher shots, you're not going to get a lot of practice. So just keep practicing on every single bird that's diving.
What was the question before that?
Real quick on the kingfisher too. I don't know what kind of area you're in, but around here, there's an area that there's quite a few docks, and you can drive on the street there and you can see the docks. And I often see kingfishers there, and I've seen them dive off the docks before. So if you can get a little area to pull off, that seems like a popular spot that I see them, or a popular area. The other question was best Sony camera for under $1,000.
It's real tough to buy a camera under $1,000.
Well, you can get them used.
Yeah, but what are you going to get? I don't know.
We need more time to think about it.
Yeah, I'd probably put you in a Canon under $1,000. Canon has better entry-level stuff than Sony does.
Yeah. But they want Sony. So I don't know. I don't know. And also, what are you taking pictures of? That's That's something we need to
I
know.
just don't love the Sony APS-C cameras, I guess.
Okay, this photo is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. I like that you got the
I keep dragging the whites up like it was really washed out.
I like that you got the stone wall in the foreground and the ladder. It kind of tells a story about that people actually live in this gorgeous area, which I think makes it cool. It's just so beautiful. Pick.
This is a gorgeous shot, Alberto, but you got to wait until the bird turns its head either parallel or towards you. If the head is away from you, you just didn't get the shot, but otherwise it's like perfect. This guy is really cute. Let's scan forward a little bit. See what catches our eye. Okay.
I like
It's an
that one.
aquarium,
I'll
but
give you a pick. They're so cute.
it's not really nature.
Yeah, though. I like that. Good expression. Good subject separation.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, we got
Look
the
at the
eclipse
people.
coming up. Yeah. That is a great spot for an eclipse.
I think I would, oh, see, I think you liked this thing here, but I might crop it so that you can more easily see the people. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm confused. Like, why is that reflection there? Oh, that's great. Yeah, you're right. I like it cropped down so you can see the people better.
That is so cool. We're going to see the eclipse, so I hope maybe we'll get a good picture. We'll see.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful pet portrait, and he looks done with you. Like, are you trying to leave to get in the car and he doesn't like that? I'll give you a pick. All right, let's do a few more. I'm looking through the comments now.
Okay, I was gonna like skip forward, but this shot is gorgeous, but it does need some more contrast. Like, look at the histogram there.
Ooh, I like the framing.
But I really like the framing. There's something really simple about it that I really love.
Ooh, whoa.
Ooh. The way the river comes through here, this little thing in the foreground, the great sky that you got. I would drop the exposure on the sky a little bit. Like, again, you can overexpose sunsets, sunrises, because as it gets to the right side of the histogram, you lose the detail in the colors. Sorry, I stopped talking because this is crazy.
That is so bizarre.
Yeah, but there's too much. You gotta simplify this.
Whoa,
way
you're
down.
really-
And then you have like a cover photo for a magazine.
That's crazy.
This is fantastic. You get a pick. That's great.
So crazy. You must have thought it was funny when you went and looked back at your photos and saw that. I like the mushroom pictures. They're pretty.
Yeah, and such a good way to get a close-up of nature, to pick out a small detail and something that would otherwise just have way too much detail.
That's beautiful. Simple, pretty. I'm going to bump the whites like I always do, just
Yeah.
to give it a little boop.
Notice they did a crop just to center the negative space around the bird.
Okay.
Okay, we're running out of time, but we're looking at the last few pictures, just really rushing through what catches our eye. What is this? Oh my God, look at this. You were going to skip this, Chelsea? How dare you? I do want to go vertical with it, though.
He's vertical.
So cute.
He's so skinny.
Yeah.
He needs a couple mice. All right. Tony, oh, I thought those were bluebonnets. I guess I don't really know what bluebonnets look like.
Those are bluebonnets.
Oh. Look at this.
Oh, wow. Jean, how did they get so close?
She's also a bald eagle.
Oh, that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. They must have so many opportunities.
Well, that's incredible. Very, very good shot. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's a squirrel having the worst day.
This could be
Amazing
a
shot.
stamp.
A stamp.
Just look how majestic that eagle is.
Look at this one's beautiful too.
Oh my God, the
Wow,
colors
the
here, the
detail's amazing.
separation. They make it like a little heart.
Yeah, I would
That's
crop out the
gorgeous.
reflection. I agree that the reflections are beautiful, but I think that they're a bit distracting here.
It's too tempting to leave in the reflections.
know.
It's almost always better without the reflections. It's so hard to accept, though.
It is. I do the same thing, but I think
See, that's better. I
It's
know it
better.
hurts. It hurts, but it's better. You get to pick Leon the cat. I did want to. Oh, Very nice. The shot, just gorgeous. But we're at 6. We gotta call it a
We
day.
did it. We called it. These photos have been amazing. So submit your photos next week. Next week's show is going to be art, which is not photos of art, but making
You're
art.
making your own art. Something that has a little bit of a message, a little bit of meaning, or something that
Okay.
is just beautiful but created by you.
Okay, so I feel like you need to really be clear before they submit.
Well, I have some flexibility. I just wanted to
Okay.
have some meaning.
Artsy. Bring us your artsy game.
Yeah,
We want to
artsy.
see metaphor. We want to see layers. I want to see colors.
I think it could be abstract too.
Just pre-crop it.
Just crop
Don't make
even
us do
tighter.
that.
Crop and then crop again.
Okay, thank you, Frank, for helping us out. And thanks all of you for commenting and sending us your questions. And hopefully we'll see you next week. So thanks.
Cheers to you guys. Bye.
That is all.